Hey, Susan Orehowsky coming to you live today. I wanted to talk about kind of a serious subject today, and it's self-care for those of us who are in the sandwich generation. And what I mean by the sandwich generation is that we typically are the baby boomers that our parents kind of had us younger. So our parents are getting older, and then we had children in our younger days. So we're having an older generation of children with our grandchildren. So we're kind of taking care of parents and children with grandkids, and sometimes the grandkids actually raising the grandkids or even the great grandkids. Okay, so I wanted to come to you and talk to you a little bit about that because it really has impacted me and my life probably in the last 8 years. So it started off with we actually lived close to our parents, to my parents. We lived actually around the corner from them. So they live on this road over here, and then right around, if you just come around the corner, we lived on the other side. So our fences actually joined together. Now, one of the cool things about living that close to your parents is that your children get to grow up with their grandparents. I grew up with my grandparents, okay? I grew up with my grandmother, my grandfather, or my grandparents. My mom's parents were closest to us, and my grandfather actually died when I was about, I think, 5 or 6. I don't really remember, but my grandmother just lived right up the hill from us always. Okay, so until her last age, she went into a fellowship house, but still I saw her every single solitary week. So I just adored her. She was my rock, because your parents are essential in your life, of course, because they're your parents, all right? But your grandparents play a huge role in your life too, okay? They are I always call them they're your safety net. I could always go to my grandmother and tell her anything that I ever wanted to tell her, like how I truly felt about, what was going on in the household or my parents or whatever, and I knew she wasn't going to say a word to my parents. She just would advise me and give me all of her little wisdom, and honestly, I just adored her. And when she died, I was 31 years old. I had just had Chad. It was about a year after I had Chad, and she passed very peacefully in her apartment, and it was just devastating to me. It was absolutely devastating. But my mom was her caregiver. Very strange, because my mom is the baby daughter, okay? She's not the oldest. The oldest daughter lived until just 7 years ago. I think it's been 7 years since she died and passed away, but she was not the caretaker, okay? My mom was the caretaker, and I think that's because we lived so close to her. So that was really emulated to me, that you are to take care of your parents. And the same thing happens with Mike's parents. His dad is in Ohio, so we have a relationship with them. It's not as close as what we would like it to be, and there's some other things that go along with that. But his mom lived right here, although now she lives with his sister. So I think you take on that role of, whoever, like he married me, so my husband comes with me, so he does my family, and that's how that works. Okay, so anyhow, I started helping my mom with my dad probably over the last 8 years before he passed, and almost 3 years ago, and I was helping her, okay, with him, and he had a stroke, and then he kind of came back from the stroke, and then there were some other things and some deficits from the stroke, and and you just don't realize what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Okay, you're doing you're doing your kids, you're doing your grandchildren, you're doing your parents, you have a life, you've got your husband. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on that you kind of forget to take care of you. And that's what happened to me. I kind of forgot about me. I got lost in the sauce. And you really do have to remember that you cannot give back unless you're taking care of this temple here. Okay, so important. So some of the things that I want to remind you on the self-care, especially when you're dealing with older parents and you're having to take care of them, you have a marriage, and then you have children and grandchildren that you're also helping and taking care of, is don't get lost in that. Okay, don't get lost in all of it, all of the chaos that can come from that. You do have to take a step back, and sometimes you really do have to say, no, I'm not going to be able to do that, because I need to have some time for me. And it's not selfish time, okay? This is time that you actually need to regroup And if you don't regroup, you just burn out completely. And then you get resentment and bitterness and, you know, some root causes that go to the heart and cause you to not be the person that you're supposed to be, that God created you to be. And so we have to remember that, okay, that self-care is just really, really important. So some of the things that I really had to take a step back from was that, you know, I had stopped reading, okay? I am an avid reader. I mean, I have 4 or 5 books at a time. I love to read. I was not reading anything, okay? I didn't have time to even open the books, or I would start a book and never get back to it. And so I was like, wow, I have got to make sure that I get back to my reading, because I love reading. I love learning and just, you know, just putting a whole bunch in this brain as much as I possibly can into that brain, okay? And so that was one of the essential things that I was missing. I also was missing my groups at church and my small groups and my women's groups and connecting with those outside of my family. And so I had to get back to those. That was really important to me, to connect back into the community, especially for the women. Okay, I really needed to have some women in my life. Some mentors, I had let some of my mentors go. I just wasn't touching base with them. I kept saying, hey, I'm good. I'm good. I wasn't good. Okay, I wasn't good. So I think you need to take a step back from that. And then the other thing too is I went back to meditation, prayer meditation, which I had been missing for quite some time as well. And again, it was because, you know, from the time you get up to the time you go to bed, you're just going. You're going. There's never any downtime. It's, you know, it's just like, wow, how am I going to do all of this? You're not going to do all of it. Or if you try to do all of it, you are going to suffer, and your health is going to suffer. And so I did. I gained some weight, and I wasn't feeling good. I wasn't sleeping right. You know, I had to get back to just the basics, okay? Just, you know, really eating clean and green and making sure I was hydrating, okay? Making sure I was exercising. And exercising is really important to me. I think that's something that I use as a stress reliever. So it was super important to me to have the exercise. But I needed to dial it down. I was doing exercise that was no longer productive for me. So I was actually over-exercising, which was actually hurting my body more so than just not even exercising, if that makes sense. Okay, so I want to make sure that what you're doing is really something you really enjoy. Okay, that's something you do. So and that was one of the things I did, is getting back to hiking with my husband. You know, we hadn't been hiking because I was doing a lot of running and taking care and all that kind of stuff, and trying to help my mom, and you know, we were missing out on some of that one, so I had to dial it back. We had to do date nights. We had to come back to our date nights because we really enjoy our date nights. And I was like, wow, we've got to make time for that. We've got to make time to do the date nights and to really enjoy one another. So that was very, very important. So, and then just overall letting people know every once in a while, hey, I need some help here. I need some support. I need you to hold me accountable and make sure that I'm actually doing what I need to be doing to take care of me. Because if I can't take care of me first, then I can't give back to others like I'm supposed to be doing. And I think we're all here to serve, and we're here to serve one another, but especially our family members, okay? You don't get to pick your parents. They are your parents, okay? You don't get to pick them, okay? They are who they are. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to do things that you're going to say, gosh, I will never do that with my children. And then you'll find yourself doing that with your children. It's awful. Okay. And you're like, oh, I said I would never do that. Okay. But sometimes I find myself that's not doing it whatsoever. Okay. Not even going to the places that they went, because I didn't want to go there. And I didn't want to do that with my children. So, you know, that does occur as well. So I just wanted to come in here today to give you some, I hope this is some inspiration, okay? Because I do not regret ever, I don't regret helping my mom with my dad. I don't regret doing what I'm doing now for my husband, who has a serious health condition. I'm not regretting anything ever about what I'm doing. I want to make sure that I honor both my parents and my husband and my children. Okay, because I think that's just so important, and I think God actually put us here to make sure that we take care of each other, and we do it in a very respectful way. So I wanted to make sure that I came in today to let you know I am a real person. I do have real issues. I have a real family that has real family issues. And so I'm here to tell you that you just do the best that you possibly can and make sure you stay the course, okay? That's important. Make sure you stay the course. And if you ever need anyone to help you or pray with you or to give you any advice whatsoever, hey, I am here for you. So just post below this one here and say, hey, 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 I'd like to reach out to you. I'd be like, hey, that'd be cool. Let's connect. Let's chat for a few minutes or whatever. You know, I'm just here to serve. Okay, so I just wanted to let you know that. I hope you're having an awesome on purpose day today. See ya.